let me explain. You know, like I'll be as clear as I possibly can. Just like a lot of people, I came across the Race the World First news that, well, first it wasn't necessarily Race the World First, just the news that players from a number of notable guilds that do participate in the Race the World First had been using renowned exploits and had received not only rollbacks but 4-day bans. I think these measures are good moves by Blizzard, but also these guilds know better. These guilds know they were exploits. These guilds know that they were wrong. And if you don't think that these efforts made were systemic, meaning that the whole guild didn't know about it, then you're simply looking at it too short-sighted. If you don't understand that renown has an effect on your ability to, like, overall on your character and building your characters and the importance of maxing out renown, I recommend you look into it and you could see that there's obvious things that can help you build your character quicker. I think there's item upgrades, there's epic items that you can get from renown. It's all there in the renown, like, rewards to your list. It's obvious. And so seeing that, to me, wasn't enough to where I'm like, well, I'm going to call this out and I'm going to report on it. So what I did is I waited to see what happens, because the raid hadn't been released yet. And so in the raid release, I saw that notably Liquid, but people are saying other guilds too, participated in exploits, which they know that they were aware of the exploits. People had been for some time. And so it's silly to think that not only did this one person who got caught using the exploit knew about it, but not the entire guild knew about it. They all knew about it. These people are paid, sponsored, like they are very skilled at the game. They know about this exploit. And so a lot of people think that when I used in my thumbnail, I used the word cheaters win. And they go, you say it's cheaters, that's clickbait. I hate to break it to you, but if you're using an exploit to get an advantage and it's something not intended by a game, whether it's a bug, it's a cheat. You are cheating. You are not using the official intended means to achieve an end. People say, well, they didn't get the clear with it. So what does it matter? In my opinion, that doesn't change that you used a cheat. If you use a cheat and you win, of course that's wrong. But if you use a cheat and you lose, it's still cheating. So it doesn't matter. But shouldn't we hold these guilds that are effectively in a tournament to a standard of like a higher standard? Does it matter? But it seems like, I mean, this was all over the Reddit. You can browse the Reddit, you can browse the YouTube comments. It got dislike bombed to infinity and beyond. All I'm saying is, in 2 cases, notable guilds that participate in the Race the World First often get caught using cheats. This wouldn't be the first time. This won't be the last time. All I was saying is, when we put people together in a team effort to achieve something, and one person cheats on that team, you cannot tell me that whole team didn't know about it. The player specifically used add-ons to hide that they were cheating. They knew it was an exploit, and they were caught. In voice, they were caught on UIs. So it's like, you can't be like, oh, they just didn't know, or it was an accident. Maybe it was an accident. They approached that cheat, but it's no way they didn't know about it. And people are saying other guilds did it too. Doesn't make it less of a cheat. And so if you're getting paid, if you're getting sponsored, if this is your livelihood to do this, I don't care if it's Blizzard ran or not, you should be required to achieve it within the confines of Blizzard's rules and terms of service. And if you break those rules and terms of service, you shouldn't be allowed to compete because your whole run is potentially at risk. If someone gets caught using steroids in an event and it was the last event of the day, you're not going to keep the rest of the events that they did just because they weren't caught at that time. You're going to go, no, now everything you've done is under a microscope. You can compete, but everything that you've done needs to be reviewed or something like that. A governing body of some sort. But you can't say like, oh, this is fine, nothing's wrong. They've been caught gold buying. They've been caught, or they openly use outside members as volunteers to funnel gear to them, to artificially increase how much gear they have to make the members of their main raid be more geared, making the race essentially only available to people who can do that. And they pay these people. They pay these people for their lockouts and for the gear drops. Now, there's a lot of analytics and there's a lot of skill that goes behind these raids. I am not saying that's not the truth. But a lot of people are like, oh, because they didn't get the clear on that specific one, then it's no harm, no foul. It's they used a cheat and it didn't work. So that person should be banned. And obviously, but it also, why isn't there more integrity in these things that are so valued? Like you can't be like, these are huge community events where a lot of players get their first, final, or have such a strong impression or strong bias towards a certain guild or group. People back this. And it's important in the community, but yet it's littered with exploits. And I hate to break it to you, but exploits, people like to blur the lines and be like, well, what's the difference between like abusing hyper spawns and an exploit? And I think it's obvious. I honestly, I feel like it's obvious. If it's something the game did not intend on you doing, and it gives you a discrete advantage not listed anywhere in the dungeon, the guides or the official guides and official means, and if it's done through some accidental or even like a bug, it's for you to use it openly and knowingly is a cheat. You're cheating. You're cheating. You're using that to cheat. And so that is all I'm saying. And a lot of people disagree with that, and that's totally fine. I'm not trying to say that they don't deserve it. A lot of people think that I'm trying to say that these people are not deserving of these wins. I couldn't do what they do. Very few of us could. All I'm saying is that if we're gonna have Race the World first, and it's gonna be like Blizzard watches this like a hawk. They constantly are tuning and changing things. Like they're it's not an official event of theirs, but they've been officially monitoring this for some time. Why aren't we gonna hold these people to a higher standard, as well as shift the game is being shifted around them? It's literally around them as they clear it. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say we're going to affect every player by what's happening today and what we're seeing today. We're going to tune things based off of what we're seeing and the things are going right and going wrong. And then at the same time go, well, Blizzard doesn't have a hand in this. Clearly they do. And clearly certain people get favoritism and very small like slaps on the wrist whenever they do these exploits, and nothing happens. So all I'm saying is my solution to it was that I think that if you have teams like this who are coming together, think like a competition, there needs to be set teams and not recruiting hundreds of players trying to make it happen. And if you're going to have people clearing this mythic content, do the mythic race when people are able to complete it with the gear, with gear having had. I feel like they released the mythic raids far before people have the gear that they need to complete it, because they're released in such a short scheduled amount of time that people haven't had time to do the normal heroic versions of things to get those gear points, those item levels up. And so they have to go through these shady means, and that may not be the solution. This may not be the solution to it. And I understand that. I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is the current state of Race to World First, it is littered with exploits and people using bugs and abusing systems that are through either things that are intended in the game, just over grinding, which is fine, but then using things that are not intended by the game, renown exploits or bugs with certain abilities and in certain boss fights. And they're doing that to get an edge, and then everyone's doing it, and the opinion of everybody is, well, because everyone's doing it, it's okay. No, none of it's okay. And and that's why I titled the video, Has the Race the World First Last Law Integrity? And honestly, I'm gonna say yes. I think for the longest time, the Race the World First has lost all integrity. And the victories, to me, feel more hollow because of that. People winning that, it just doesn't feel legitimate. Because it's done through shady and in underhanded ways that not only makes it inaccessible to smaller guilds that do and can compete, but it also makes it to where basically the game itself is getting steered and directed specifically for people who do this and not for everybody else, which I feel like is one of the biggest faux pas, the biggest slip ups I've seen in World of Warcraft's history. And so Blizzard doesn't have a good history of managing or doing competitions. Most of them are bad or boring anyways. But I'm saying that people hold Race the World First on this pedestal that it doesn't deserve. And it's stupid. It's just a game. So people need to stop taking themselves so seriously and their favorite guild and favorite group so seriously and grow the fuck up. Because that's all the fuck it is. It's just a game. And people literally have nothing better to do than going like, oh, why'd you make this post? And I'm like, I just saw it and I said it. I make videos on WoW. This was the topic. End of story. Chill the fuck out. I have people in my comments, but also in my email harassing me and being like trying to write me essays about what I've said. And nothing that I said was incorrect. I just reported the information, gave my opinion on how I think it should move forward, and that's it. Will it reach anybody that matters and makes a difference? Probably not. But like people say like, oh, you just make a post for clickbait. And then these people have nothing better to do than get in my comments and not only harass me, but harass everybody who comments, who agrees with me, and harass them too. The majority of the reports that I did in my comments wasn't for myself. It was for people coming after other people, like aggressively coming after other people. And it's sad. It's so sad because these people like in reality, their position is so fragile that if you shake it whatsoever, they break down. And it's unfortunate. So for everybody who was in the comments, who was reasonable, who was saying, maybe I disagree with your post. I'm not talking about you. I understand it's totally fine to disagree with me. But for all the people who say like clickbait, rage bait, like negative posting, shit posting, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's not what the post was about. Exploits are cheats. They kind of go hand in hand. It's abusing systems and systems that weren't intended by the game or bugs to try to get an advantage. And if you think that they aren't getting away with exploits or using exploits that you can't see when they're hiding exploits that they're using, then that's room temperature IQ behavior. That's all it is. So I hope that clears things up. I hope that clears things up. But for those of you worried about like the people harassing me and stuff like that, I'm fine. I talk with my wife about them and we laugh. It's totally fine. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I have a good life. I have a good job, and a great family. I'm set. So don't worry about that. I didn't even cry, not even once. All right. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Take it easy.